Hello and welcome everyone to another engaging session of the Organic Majlis. Our topic today is guilt-free, the future of healthy confectionery in the GCC. And I'm your host, Shinu Pillai from GL Exhibitions, organizers of the 23rd Middle East Organic and Natural Products Expo, taking place from 17 to 19 November at the Dubai World Trade Center. The Organic Majlis is Middle East online community for exporters and importers of all things healthy, natural, and organic, bringing industry leaders together to share market insights, trends, and opportunities. The GCC's healthy confectionery market is at a turning point. Rising health consciousness, lifestyle-related ailments, and growing demand for sugar-free, vegan, keto-friendly, and functional snacks are reshaping consumer preferences. Today's consumers are actively seeking guilt-free indulgence, treats that combine great taste with clean label ingredients, plant-based alternatives, and functional health benefits. Backed by a young, trend-driven population and a retail ecosystem eager for innovation, the region is fast becoming a hub for healthy snacking brands. This is opening exciting opportunities for suppliers, manufacturers, and innovators to bring the next wave of better-for-you confectionery to the market. During our masterclass today, we will hear from leading importers, distributors, manufacturers, and e-commerce pioneers who will share their insights on sourcing strategies, global supply chain shifts, consumer demand trends, and the policy landscape influencing this booming category. We are also joined by producers and exporters from around the world who are looking at expanding into this region. So without further delay, allow me to introduce our esteemed panelists. So first up, we have Iman Suguian. She's the CEO and co-founder of Chocolat, a brand dedicated towards healthy chocolates and snacking. Chocolat is based in Dubai, and she is also the co-founder to agriculture enterprise OFW Parasa Maksasaka. I hope I'm getting this right, Iman, in the Philippines.
You got it 90% right.
Yeah, thank you. Prior to the cacao and chocolate business, she founded and managed award-winning Asan Premium Hotel Supplies from 2009 to 2022, whose design plus manufacturing clients include global luxury chains operating in the Middle East and Africa. Just to name a few: Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, and Jumeirah Hotels, and of course, the iconic Burj Al Arab, and many, many more. So, Iman, welcome to the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Veer, for having me.
Pleasure. Next, we have very familiar Anaita Kanath. She's an experienced professional with over 25 years of success in the global strategic procurement, specializing in sourcing food and beverages, services, and indirect materials, operating supplies and equipment for multinationals like the United Nations, hospitality, and HoReCa industry. Her experience encompasses the launch of over 25 properties, including hypermarkets, health and beauty concept stores, and luxury hotels across the GCC and India. Her expertise extends to retail category management within FMCG, own label development, and marketing for the health industry. So, Anaita, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And next we have Pankaj Sajnani, who's a procurement manager at Choithrams. So with over 20 years of procurement experience at one of GCC's leading supermarket chains, Pankaj oversees Choithrams, grocery, food, and non-food categories. As a seasoned buyer, deeply versed in sourcing organic, plant-based, keto-friendly, and clean label products, he brings crucial insights on emerging consumer trends, supply chain dynamics, and category innovation in the GCC. Pankaj, once again, welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
So finally, we have Chef Walid Ghazi. He is the owner and executive chef whose lifelong passion for chocolate sparked the creation of every item in their collection. From a young age, Chef Walid was fascinated by the magic of turning raw cacao into something truly exquisite. Chocolate Creations was founded on the belief that every piece of chocolate tells a story. They source cocoa from sustainable farms, ensuring that every bite supports ethical practices and communities around the world, with a deep respect for the environment and commitment to crafting chocolates that are not only irresistible, but also kind to our planet. So with that, I would like to welcome all our panelists who are leaders in the region. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have been collecting questions from all our attendees and who have registered for the session. So what I plan to do today is that we will start with each question. So I'll share those questions with the panelists. And please come forward and share your thoughts based on your experience and your sector within the market, right? So quite naturally, the first up is always about consumer behavior, consumer trend. So the first question we have is, how do you see the younger consumer base, that's Gen Zs and millennials, influencing product choices in healthy snacking? So Iman, can we start with you?
Yeah, thank you, Veer. So for us at Chocolat, Gen Zs, the millennials, they're an important demographics that we do consider. At Chocolat, and this is a not so secret. Our key market is the 35 to 45-year-old demographics. So, but the second one is the 25 to 35. And so we put a high value on that. There is a lot of interest from the ages 15 to 25, and the 25 to 35-year-olds are buying. And understandably, if you're young, you're still studying, you will not have the buying power as a 35-year-old, for example. However, we see a lot of consumers who might buy less, but they are buying. And so we try to take care of them. Why? Because they're the future of the business. And I've also seen personally some of our customers, they started buying when they were in college. Now they are working, because we started selling online in 2018. So now that they have graduated, now they have work, you can see their bags when they check out, it's bigger. And so to answer your question, it's an important, their considerations are important considerations by Chocolat.
Oh, nice to know. I'm sure Pankaj would want to add to this because he's managing procurement and behind the scenes for the largest supermarket chains, Choithrams. So Pankaj, what's your take on this?
Thank you so much for giving the opportunity, and Iman, thank you very much for giving your insight. The younger consumer, as per my opinion, base is driving a demand for the healthier and clean label and sustainability snacking solution options. Gen Zs and millennials are more experimentals. They are doing more experimental, seeking for the functional benefits, unique flavors, and the brand that align with their values, like a transparency and sustainability. And they are keen to take more new varieties, such as sometimes they want a keto free, sometimes organic, free from, and wellness also.
Okay, so that's good to hear. Anaita, I know that you have been working with multinationals across probably Middle East, Africa, India, all of that. So how do you see that, these new age consumers, so to speak, how are they influencing the choices when it comes to healthy snacking?
Yes, I think that's a brilliant question. So just to put into perspective, past 2 years, I have actually been very much involved with more product development as well as consultancy in the space of sustainable, plant-based vegan items. So, when you look at it from a hospitality or a manufacturing perspective, it's very different. But what I see nowadays, especially in the Gen Z and the millennials, is functional food. Awareness is a lot. There is a tremendous amount of awareness among the Gen Zs. They're seeing everything, right? They're seeing everything on ChatGPT, on AI, and whatever. So they have pretty much know what they want, but they want all that packaged in a functional form and giving it, the benefits of plant-based, the keto, the health, So that's how I have seen it. I also see in the GCC, it's, more to do with vegan and keto diets. I've seen in India, where I operate from nowadays, I see a lot of this into traditional food. Like I recently worked with a brand, Averi something, and they got into burfis, burfis which are plant-based and keto-based, or, so that's the trend I see. So very clearly, a very conscious generation who wants what is pretty much in their head soon in the market, for them to consume. So that's been my experience in the past 24 months coming into this space.
Interesting. I know we started off with talking about trends, and I think the first, kind of the buzzword that comes out is like functionality or functional food. And
Yes.
so I think that nicely takes us to Chef Walid, because I know that he's very much involved with sustainability as well, in terms of sourcing and, even other aspects. So Chef Walid, the question for you is which health-driven trends or which trends basically are currently shaping buyer preferences?
Actually, in this country, in Dubai, and especially with this multinationality that are living in Dubai, it's not easy to have a trend. So, mean you want to work on any item, on any product a lot and think too much to find the good brand. But regarding this consumer, they are not looking only for like low sugar, low fat. No, they are going more details. In example, they ask about sourcing of ingredient. They need eco-friendly boxes, eco-friendly packaging. They don't want plastic. So now it's not easy to make any trend in this market. So you want to work hard, you want to think about everything, packaging, ingredients, source of the ingredient, the fusion is very important because we have a lot of nationality in this country. So it's not easy. Plus the marketing side also play a big role. So it's a full package to get this trend now.
Okay, so pretty much what you are saying is that it's a 360-degree approach, and like whether it is not just health benefits by the look, the feel, the way the product is presented, it all matters, right? So Anaita, is that something that you also see, like which are, or according to you, which are the main health-driven trends that you see, which are driving this demand, right?
Yeah, I think like Walid also point out, it's more now about inner health. It's about probably not an example related to confectionery, but if you see the buzzword now across the region, GCC or India, is with these slimming drugs, for example, or Ozempic or whatever, these kind of drugs. So what I see is the trends are more like Walid said, everyone is going into the depth of it. They want to know exactly where the source is, what is the product, where does it come from, and how does it culturally blend with my region also. Like for the GCC, like for example, you see halal, culturally, is it picked? For India, if you see, it is, based on Ayurveda or based on, what my mother used to make. So I can have a healthy snack, guilt-free eating, similar in taste, similar in ingredient with what was culturally followed. So I think the trends, that's how they are following. And in GCC particularly, like we've seen, the kunafa, like the kunafa and these kind of gummies, candies. I see a lot of that trend because that kind of bridges the gap between the guilt-freeness of it because it's not fat, and at the same time, it's tasty. So I'm not going by numbers. I'm just going by my experience. That's how I see it. Inner health, going towards candies, gummies, and the cultural buzzword like maybe a kunafa in Dubai, maybe XYZ in Far East. Yeah, that's my experience, you can say.
Can I
Right.
add
So
something?
guilt-free.
Yeah.
Yes, please, Iman. Yeah.
So for us, maybe because our focus has always been health when we began Chocolat, and just for the sake of our viewers, so my sister and I started the brand because of our diabetic mother. So as early as 2016, 2017, we were already seeing, the ill effects of sugar. And so that's why when we started the brand, foremost in our mind was that sugar is bad. This is the thing. And over the years, so that's like We started our farms, our cacao farms in 2016. 2018, we launched the brand. We see a pronounced leaning of people towards food which are, which have less sugar. So the reduced sugar, reduction in sugar, we see at least in our market, because like I said, we've always focused on chocolates that are delicious, but they are healthy. So how healthy? So one, I see really the, people looking at what kind of sugar are you using? This is like very pronounced. And then maybe in the last 2 years, gut health has been so important. So and it's for a mother like me, this is I love what I'm doing. Why? Because I know whatever I'm eating here at Chocolat, and I'm not advertising. I'm just saying I know that gut health really affects and anyone who's in the who's into health or wellness knows that if you take care of your gut, you take care of a lot of diseases already. You keep that away from you. And then the third trend that we are really seeing right now at Chocolat is the search for keto. A lot of people are seeing the effects um, of of carbohydrates, of sugar, and so we're always asked, do you have keto? And so we have some keto offers. Not everything is keto, but we have keto offers to cater to that market as well. So yeah, and then of course vegan has always been there, plant-based. It's like it's consistently in the market because a lot of people and in different nationalities they have intolerance for dairy, and so I think those four are trends that we consistently are seeing this year.
Interesting, because it's interesting also that, like since Chef Walid started off by saying that, how consumers are diving deep into the product and trying to understand. So I think even like, I think pretty much we are all echoing a similar pattern, right? I mean, people trying to understand, like even to the extent of what Iman said now, that
Yeah.
health is also like, when somebody is purchasing one of the driving factor, right? I mean, in a supermarket scenario, Pankaj, what kind of feedback? What do you get to see?
Well, I'll add there are three categories are doing very well now these days in terms of recently I'm reading one article that they say the protein intake has been increased by especially with the drinks category and snacking category. Where the
Okay.
people or other Gen Zs or millennials are more, you can say, cautious about how much protein have to intake per day because they are more towards the gym side. So they are reading how much protein intake required for the per day. So they are reading and then using accordingly. So that is the reason if you see the protein dairy products are now more in trend. And then people are trying to maintain a separate dedicated area because customer decision making tree comes from there itself. This is the one area I saw there is a now these days people are more inclined. On top of that, organic snacking category in the baby food. I'm not talking about baby milk. If you see the baby snacking categories are also very popular nowadays because mothers are looking at the baby snacking like it's a chips, but it's a very you can say prescribed in terms of by the doctors also. So these things, this category is also doing very well. On top of that, now these days protein is a one segment, organic is another segment, and then on top of that, you can say free from is the main thing, gluten free, and then the free from the you can say like Emma correctly said that gut your problems are also now these days are people are more conscious about that. So these are the trends are now in the market.
Interesting. I think, that brings us to the next question where somebody is asking, or like we have got quite a few questions in terms of raw material versus ready to market products. So, I mean, at least we have got two manufacturers, so to speak, and retail chain, and of course, we have got a consultant. So I think if you can tell for our viewers, do you prefer sourcing ready to market products or importing raw materials and then work with regional manufacturers?
Um, for me, it's raw materials. As a factory, as a manufacturer, you have a better hold of your ingredients, the quality of your ingredients, and also our maître chocolatier, which was my sister, can do her magic with the raw materials. And also because you want to make sure that you get the best ingredients. Not just that it's ethical, it's sourced sustainably. So that's better achieved when you source ethically directly from the raw suppliers, raw material suppliers.
Clear. Thank you, Iman. And how about you, Chef Walid?
For me, starting with the chef. Why? Because when we create item, so the chef he will start from this point. He needs some local item or something in the market, or if you want to go out of the box and think to import something. But it's not easy now to import any product, especially food. In example, I was looking for goji berry. I find in the market, but it's not high quality. So I need to go to buy it from China. But in this case, also to buy from outside, you need halal certificate. You need a lot of approve from Dubai municipality. So it's not easy at all to maintain if you want to buy from outside. But if you want to buy from local market, it's easy, but it's limited. There's a difference between these two.
Understood, understood. And Pankaj, I assume that you will be sourcing both because you may have a customer base for that.
As a supermarket perspective, we are preferring the both side of this, ready to market products for the faster rollout and the innovation, while also some important raw material do we collect from the region manufacturer, or for the localized buying is basically based on the cost factor as well, because it's a cost effective while we are importing something from the different part of the world, and if it is locally available, it is giving a more, you can say, cost effective. Like for an example, Kunafa. Now these are very popular. So it's getting share in then the chocolate category, because Kunafa we are not importing, though even the multinational brands also enter in the Kunafa. But if you see the initially when the buzz is there and then people started with the local manufacturer only.
Right. Okay. And I'm extending this question a little further because I know that Anaita has got a little more varied kind of a track. So Anaita, do you see that, what do you see with private labeling? Because own labeling, is that something that is catching up momentum? Because we are talking about raw material and finished products. So with finished products or ready to go or packaged products, what is the uptake for private labeling?
Yeah, no, again, I think the trend has always been also that manufacturers do prefer taking raw material and developing and a mix, like Pankaj said. I'll take you back to very almost a decade back when I was at Nestle, for example. Quality Street was being imported from Switzerland, right? But what really helped was the day we started making that one chocolate, which was Arabic taste, Arabic, whatever, with the local ingredient. So I would say it's a trend that's gone on right from the beginning. And even today, when you look at it, it's similar. The only difference, as I see it now, is because entrepreneurship is so common now, the big companies who used to manufacture and make a brand or a product themselves, now there are likes of the smaller, anyone today gets in their own product with their own soul into it. So that's how I have seen the trend even the past 3 years. Like I said, a couple of brands which are there across the GCC, in ice creams. Padello Gelato, for example, is an ice cream brand that I worked with. They, source everything locally and kind of make the brand over here. And yeah, so that's pretty much historically been the same.
Yeah. I'd like to add on to that because you mentioned, Veer, about white labeling, right? So for us as a factory, so we are based here in Dubai. I think a lot of brands who are still experimenting, sort of, okay, and they don't have the resources yet to build a factory, would often go to a manufacturer like us. I've seen, and we've had so many projects the past 2 years for people who had their own ideas. They would give you an idea. This is what I envision, and then we created a recipe for them, and then we launch it for them with the packaging. So I think since we've repeatedly mentioned the Dubai chocolate, the viral chocolate, the Kunafa, I think people started to think of chocolate of confectionery is like it's sort of like democratized. If somebody like the creator of the Dubai chocolate can do it, why not us? And we've seen so many inquiries to make their own brands. And the good thing with Dubai, of course, I mean, it's, this is the UAE is a good place to launch your business. So white labeling is alive and kicking.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. I could see Pankaj nodding, because I know that even Choithrams, for that matter, have been a front runner when it comes to private labeling. Am I right, Pankaj?
Private label, we are more inclined towards the private label in terms of non-food side of business, but in the food side of business, we have certain goodness food is in a brand that is in a private label, and it's available across all the categories. This is very vast category, like oil to till different UST milks also there we have. So private label also gaining the share in the market, and then margin perspective, you see this is giving a good margin to us.
Amazing, amazing. So I think related to sourcing is probably the next question as well. I'm just going through my list. So when sourcing healthy confectionery, what are your top 3 criteria for selecting suppliers? I mean, this question, I can imagine where it is coming from, because as I said, like we have got quite a lot of attendees who are joining us from around the world. So of course, they would like to see that, okay, you know what, yeah, so what are the preferences, or what are the top 3 criterias, like, when you are trying to source, what are those that you will keep right on top?
Can I go?
Yeah, please.
So when sourcing healthy confectionaries, our top 3 criteria are clean label first, then ingredients should be mentioned very properly with the clean health benefits, including like keto-friendly options or competitive prices with the strong margins, because as in a retail we have to look at this also, and consistency supply by the, you can say, manufacturer. These 3 things we have to keep in mind, and then while importing any kind of outside the world.
Very clear. Yeah. How about others?
Yeah, Walid, go ahead.
Sorry. For me, as a production and chef, for me, this one need a lot of things like quality, certification, innovation. And now again, it's not easy especially for the organic and sugar-free. So we need to go more deep. We need to ask about GMO, about a lot of certificate, because now Dubai municipality, especially in this line, they are more strict. The source of all the ingredients, the certificate. So for me, yes, it's certificate, it's halal certificate, it's innovation, it's certification, it's innovation also. It's innovation to help us to continue our business.
I think I'm going to meet Chef Walid later on to supply our sugar-free couverture later on.
See
Most
that these
welcome.
connections made live. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chef Walid. Anaita, anything that
Yeah.
your clients, who prescribe, or like say that, okay, these are the criterias, this is something that we should follow?
No, even for me, when I sourced a lot when I was in the hospital, in the luxury hospitality industry just a few years back, with confectionery, when it is the source of the sugar, the country of origin. I think Walid said GMO, yes, is one very important thing. But when it comes to confectionery, you see, overall, the integrity and credibility, integrity of a supplier, yes, is important. But that's a broad perspective. But when it comes to confectionery, for me, what stands out and what I get even in my consultation, when I do little consultations, is the source of the sugar and the country of origin. Because, the country of origin also determines what is that country's law in terms of certifying something, right? Like sugar, a stevia certification in X country may be something else. A stevia may get stevia certification, or saccharine may get saccharine certification in X country at a different level. We're getting a bit technical here, but there's the supplier tree validation when it comes to. So for me, when it is confectionery, the sugar source and the country of origin are the most
The
important.
top on your
Yeah.
list, yeah. Okay, and that slides us into the next one. So, is there any country or region preferences when you're looking for suppliers?
For me, because we have our own agri-social enterprise, it's a privilege to be working with our fellow Filipino farmers. And on it meets two demands. One is we have a stable source of cacao, and as you know, right now, cacao is like crazy up and down with the prices globally. And the second thing is the ability to trace, the ability to find out who are the farmers, who are the people who are benefiting from us buying their products, their cacao. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, is there a preference for us Philippines for cacao? There are other, other sources as well, but I guess they mentioned it earlier. It helps, the credibility of the country helps in reinforcing the ability of a supplier to really give quality products. And that's something I think as a buyer of raw materials, this is something I can tell vendors who are venturing, to come to the UAE or to come to sell to manufacturers here.
Okay, thank you, Iman. And Chef Walid, any preferences
For
your country? Does it really?
For me, look, Europe still they have this strict food regulation, especially if I'm talking about innovation, especially about some sugar. For me, yes, I prefer to go to Europe, and I have some company. And one more thing, I want to add something regarding the sugar. Now we are using maltitol in the sugar-free. We are using organic coconut sugar. We are using allulose. This generation, let's go to back to the first question. This generation, they ask about it. So now it's not easy to put example maltitol or coconut organic sugar. No, no, they ask more details. So now, yes, we should be strict like Europe to have this all regulation.
Okay, interesting. So country of origin and the kind of certification really matters.
Yes.
Pankaj, any regional country preference when you go about sourcing?
See, we have stores are very diversified. It's not some retailers are basically very clear about that they are catering to the New Dubai area and then they are focusing towards the more European side, UK side of it. In our segment, there's a different stores are with a different location, and then we have a customer base is also different. If we talk about Asian side of customer base, we are procuring from the Philippines, Thailand, and then Australia, the side of it. We go to the New Dubai area, we are preferring to the UK, USA, and then from the European bedroom. On top of that, multinationals are available here, but we are trying to identify the gap analysis also. Like for an example, any kind of multinational brand are there is available. But what flavor, what particular SKU is not bringing in this region, we have to import from the X country, and then we have to keep on our shelf to cater our end consumers, and that is called the uniqueness we.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. So it's all about, catering to what the consumer demand or the customer demand is, and then based on that, look at sourcing, right? So I think, I mean, of course, we have been, I was just thinking about something in between because many a times we have been talking or referring about sugar, because you know that recently the UAE government has also come up with a different varied taxation when it comes to, I mean, I know it's for sugar drinks, but I'm sure like, slowly but surely across the world, we are seeing that, sugar is being taxed. There is always an extra tax that is payable. So I'm 100% sure that, that will only boost the demand for, healthy confectionery and be it healthy drinks and all of that, right? So I think
I'll just add there, very interestingly, there has been a lot of trend for coconut sugar, for example. And, in the Indian market. And what I wanted to add to this point is, whatever your source is, I think we should always consider the geopolitical conditions of the country. Because very often, like I would love to get my coconut sugar from South India, for example. But if India has, because we faced this in the past in different categories, if you're getting potatoes from Australia and then you have a geopolitical situation there, what happens? So I think that's been my experience also in the past couple of months, you can say, lot of blocks come over there, as to what's my alternative. So yeah, I just thought of that as a point to add. Yeah.
No, very good point, because that could also pose us a challenge, right? Because precisely that's a question that somebody has asked. What are the biggest sourcing challenges for sugar-free and vegan products in the GCC. So, of course, Anaita, you touched upon one of them, which is like geopolitics and whatever repercussions or repercussions based on that, how it affects the supply chain, right? So, is there any other challenges in terms of sourcing that you have come across?
Yeah, I mean this is one of the main things that comes across, because the consumer nowadays is so educated. For example, like talking again of coconut sugar, and very recently when I was working for one of the luxury hospitality chains,
I think we lost Anaita for a second. So
where you
probably,
get it from.
yeah, no, you're back. Yeah, good to have you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think that was the power went, and so yeah, I think that it's just because the consumer is so aware nowadays that they know what they want, and the challenge becomes in the GCC is to get that quick source from different regions.
Yeah. I think I want to add to that. I just want to give an example of a challenge that we faced recently. So one of the for 2 years now, we've been creating functional hot chocolate drinks. So one of them, we call it Keep Calm, Drink Me. So it's supposed to relax the person at the same time that you are drinking hot chocolate. So one of the ingredients that we are using is ashwagandha. And to our surprise, when we were going to export it, we found out that ashwagandha is not an ingredient that is authorized by the Dubai municipality. Although it is already you can buy it as a tablet, you can buy it in different forms, but as an ingredient, I don't know. I just feel that maybe sometimes the government rules or those like bureaucracy has not been has not caught up with the demands of the market, because like ashwagandha is, I think for the last 10 years, at least people who are into healthy eating and drinking, and people from India know ashwagandha, right? So you know so we were just surprised, and we had to rethink, okay, how can we export this. So I think that's one challenge, maybe for those who are going to manufacture something. You're thinking, okay, it's going to be so new, so different. Okay, hang on. Is it registered in the Dubai municipality? So that's just just a recent experience that we had.
Good point, Iman. Quite naturally, of course, compliance is always can be a challenge as well as a motivator, right? So, Pankaj, sorry.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing here. As Anaita said that coconut sugar. So there now these days, I look at the last 1.5 years, jaggery powder is also very popular now. These in the trend, and it comes from the India also. And then we develop our private label as well because doing very well in the category.
Oh, interesting, interesting.
Towards migrating white sugar to the jaggery powders.
All right. Okay. Interesting. And is there any challenges in terms that you come across? Because I know that you have got a supply chain, probably around the world. But when it comes to vegan, free from or sugar-free products, do you see any specific challenge, Pankaj?
No, we not seen any specific challenge due to the one reason we have a very fertile software system is thereby we are making the orders. We are keeping everything in the consideration. The 2 months lead time by the I can say which country I'm importing. On top of that, we are keeping a buffer of 1 month in terms of yes, something geopolitical problem is arrived. So 1 month we have some buffer sort of. So system is so fertile and we put it a data in a such a way algorithm. So they give us the very correct, you can say, forecast, and then we are always follow the SOS we are saying in our language that how much requirement is there as per the sales rate of the per SKU.
Okay, interesting.
We have to maintain the inventory very properly. Otherwise, if we are also stock and we importing from the Expo country, so it's at least go for the 2 months sales.
I have a question for Pankaj.
Yeah.
Sorry here to interrupt. Pankaj, is there an edge if you are locally manufacturing? I mean, just for our listeners who are probably also based here in the UAE.
Yeah, we are supporting the local manufacturer here that is called SMEs. If sometimes SMEs comes to us, so we are giving it not as a local supplier either. I will give you the as in when we do the procurement. One is called export. or either you can say import for export for the X country, then import for us. So when we are doing the import, there's only we have a front margin, means we are buying in the X value and selling in the Y value. And in between margins is basically is our margin. On top of that, if suppose expiry comes, anything happen is on our shoulder. When we talk about local side of business, we have a two type of models are there. One is called normal PDA part. If some SMEs comes to us and then we are supporting always because we give the incubator model. Sometimes what happen when you we have different terms and conditions are there while signing the contract. So there is a opening fee, X fees are there. So this call you can say overheads for the any kind of new vendor comes in a portfolio. And God forbid the products are not moving well. So that investment is not going to be returned. So for that, we are giving him simply that, okay, you give us the X margin because we are getting this particular margin in the category, like for example, snacking category. So we have a set margin over there. If you have met that margin in terms of giving us only by the cost versus RSP, so we are ready to list you, your product. So this way, what happened? Any kind of small scale industries or rather the newcomers are coming in the you can say trend. So they simply say that yes, I'm happy because I upfront not investing. So we
Thank you.
always the local vendors because it's easy to us because in a one call I can say that okay, send me the 10 cartons immediately. And then he can deliver also
Right.
within 4 hours. Other than I'm depending on you, I have to import, I have to give the requirement, then PI comes, confirmation, lead time, water time. So this always help us by the turnaround the local ASAP.
Right. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for that. Because I mean, this exactly is the purpose of Organic Majlis, because it's a networking and community of importers and
Yeah.
exporters. Of so many new connections are made, and it's always valuable, right? I'm 100% sure our audience is equally valuing the discussion and the
But I will say it's a very thin line because we have to maintain our, you can say, import assortment also because end of the day, customers look at the Choithram in terms of range and then what is the uniqueness you have in terms of from the every part of world, what you're additionally you're bringing to the on the, you can say, your shelves.
Hmm. So Pankaj, you touched upon, like, I mean, use of software, use of technology to, kind of like mitigate supply chain issues, right? So,
Correct.
I would also like to hear from others in terms of, when it comes to procurement, how do you handle supply chain issues? I mean, especially I know that healthy products or health products always have got to be, the supply chain is very critical, right? I mean, unless products which has got a longer shelf life and whatnot. So how do you, if you can share your experiences, or how do you mitigate these issues?
I mean, for us, as a manufacturer, we make sure that we order way ahead of time. Anaita has mentioned geopolitical, factors, and for example, hazelnuts. We got really affected when there was, some geopolitical unrest in the areas where the ship will be passing through. So, one lesson for us, especially the past 3 years, is really to order early. Not very ideal, but you have to anticipate. Especially the market is growing, and the demand is just increasing. So for us, the best way to manage this is just to order ahead of time. That's how we manage it.
Perfect. So managing time. Chef Walid, because I know that you mentioned that, you do quite a lot of procurement from Europe, especially. So how do you manage problems related to supply chain?
We are trying to make a contract with all the companies who have the agent in Dubai, because also we have also problem if you want to buy something from outside, they will tell you no, go to our agent in Dubai or go to our agent in Saudi Arabia. So we are trying to make a contract with these companies to be in safe. Otherwise, like Iman said, yes, we need to make order ahead, and we have a lot of surprise sometimes, delay, price change. So it's not easy now in this time to maintain and to be 100% in the production.
Interesting. Yeah, because especially in a volatile market situation like this, like it's quite important that, there are some legal aspects also when it comes to supplier management and etc. Right? Pankaj?
Yes, and especially, example, tomorrow you get order maybe 3 times from your production, and you need to take this order. So it affect all your store or your inventory or your orders. Yeah, now it's not easy at all to maintain and to be in the safe side all the time.
Understood. Yeah. Sorry, Pankaj.
So I want to add one more point here. As you mentioned the shelf life, then I recall while we are giving the order, like for example, pasta, and I say canned food, or either rice, oil, and flour. Flour is a wrong example, but I would say rice, oil. So these all are the categories where the shelf life is very large, like 12 months and plus. We talk about the frozen also, it's more than 1.5 years. So while like making the orders, we are keeping in the mind extra buffer should be there because at the end of the day, it's not going to expire on a sudden basis. On top of that, when we are making the order, we are keeping in the mind that if I'm maintaining the inventory more than 1.5 months, so I'm losing my interest rate also. So these two factors also keep in the mind. But while it's coming the short shelf life, I'm talking about snacking category or either you can say dairy or either perishable category. Rather than we will give by the air order. And if suppose my dry shipment where the shelf life is big, I have an alternative months ordering pattern. In the air, by what we will do, I will make the order within the 15 days. So bring the less quantity, sell with the maximum shelf life, and satisfy to the end consumers. So this type of pattern we are follow for the short shelf life and then bigger shelf.
Perfect. Perfect. So I think, probably I'm addressing kind of like last two questions or a couple of questions that we have. I'll try to combine that as well. So quite naturally, the question is, how receptive are the GCC retailers and distributors in introducing these niche products like keto desserts, functional snacks? So I would probably start with Anaita because I know that she's a bit adventurous as well when it comes to launching new products into the market.
No, well, what I would say is in my experience, there's a lot of interest. There are a lot of people now, even from outside the GCC, wanting to come into the GCC. They want to, their product. So my thing would be retailers should really now start. When I was in that seat, I wasn't that innovative in trying to, because Pankaj, you understand, we have our own restrictions on what we can experiment with. So I see it from this side of the table. There is a lot of product available. There are a lot of very passionate, innovative people. So we should go in. And very interestingly, I was reading an article that the functional food market in GCC, I'm talking only GCC, is at 18 billion USD today, expected to rise to 50 billion in 10 years. And plant-based confectionery, which is at around 250 million USD, is expected to rise at 20%. This is some study that I had done last month when I was working for some product development. So, so I can see there is a lot of interest. Now it really depends on the retailers, on the likes of, entrepreneurs to take on these products. And even if you look at the trends, like we go back, like simple things from chocolate spreads to, we've been talking about kunafa all the time, or if you talk of Indian region, these burfis and makan, there's a lot of awareness and there's a lot of demand. So that's a space I come from.
Okay, so demand is definitely pushing.
Demand is there, yeah. There's so many people.
Yeah.
There's so many people wanting to, bring in their market, especially to the GCC. I see it.
Right.
Could I add to that as
Generally, how receptive, generally speaking, I'm not specifically to Choithram, but I mean, of course, you've got pulse on the market as well. So generally, how receptive, how open are distributors and retailers for these niche products?
At the end of the day, we are also two caps. We are a retailer also and distributor also. So we are always looking at something niche, something new to innovate in the market. End of the day, you have to maintain your top line as well for that. So because everybody having their own base, you have a last year base. How can you improve your base? So something you have to add on the portfolio to the distributor point of view or the retailer point of view. Anaita correctly said that now these are what happens. Suppliers are bringing the new range based on the new trend. Like keto is there, then kunafa came. Now these are ice creams. Ice creams are very popular in terms of, you can say, Chinese ice creams are there in the market now, and then they're doing very well. So we are always on the toes that if something new is coming, we have to deliver to our end consumer, because end consumer comes to the Choithrams for that point of view as well. But always I say, as then I can say buyer to the distributor side of business, that bringing on the shelf any item is very easy. We have to list the product, we have to keep on the shelf. But how we drive this and how we educate the end consumer, that is the main challenge. So while you are bringing anything, you have to work 360-degree. How can we promote ATL, BTL activities, gondola displays in the stores? PSM has to be very clear and crisp, where the message is very go clearly. If suppose I'm bringing any organic product and putting on the gondola, but gondola never says, PSM never says it's an organic product. What is the use of that? So
Without a
360,
story.
we have to tell the story. We have to educate the end consumers. Especially that this meeting is happening for the organic point of view, but if you go to the non-food side of business, where the paraffin-free, you can say flavor-free things are there, but end of the day, promoter will not say to the end consumer, and consumer not understand, because I am in the industry, I know what I listed, for what purpose I listed. But if I'm an other industry, I'm coming from a different industry, I'm standing in the aisle, so I need to educate somebody to us. So there's called Catman project is also there, where the shelf tag is also either the divider is also give the education to the end consumer. So we are entering now in that segment. We are doing the Catman projects in the different categories, like chocolate categories are there, or either you can say go the pamper categories, where we can decide by price point to the lower price point, or either you can say segmented by the family, so customer can easily navigate and understand.
Understood, clear. Yeah. And I know Iman and Chef Walid, you are manufacturers, but do you see that readiness from retailers, like when you experiment in your lab, some new flavors or some new products?
I think what I wanted to add to what Pankaj and Anita has mentioned is, I think if you're a brand or you're a manufacturer, for us, because we are clear who our buyer personas are. So who's your target market? If you know who your buyer personas are, where do they shop? So for us, since we've always been into healthy chocolates, we've always thought, where would our consumers go? Because people who are into wellness and health, they have a certain set of mind, they have a certain mindset. So if you know where they go, it will be easy to move products in locations where they where they congregate or where they surely are going to buy. Like what Pankaj said, and this has been our experience as well in the past. If you go into a mainstream like marketplace, whether online or in a physical space, you need to push yourself into the market. Otherwise, you're just going to be swallowed by the thousands and thousands of products out there. So, yeah, that's what I think. But there are a lot of retailers who are like half of their business or more than half of their business is into functional foods, health foods. If you go there, surely it will be easy to move your products there.
Interesting. So both brand and retailers moving in the same direction, following each other so that you can reach the consumers. I mean, Chef Walid, what's your take on?
For me, distributors or they're, especially when they come from big brands, they are welcome. Yani, this niche product are welcome for them. But especially if they come from big brand, famous brand, support with some certification, halal and all this thing. Overall, for me, it's high. But the sexy here's the big question. Depends the marketing, the price. This also plays a big role in everything, and especially in this time. Okay, people they said, okay, it's not expensive or it's less price, but for me, it's a full package between for any brand. Especially when you go to retailer, distributor, anything, it's a full package of price, quality, eco-friendly. All the things play a big role in this market now.
Very critical points that you raised, Chef Walid. Yeah. So how about probably the last question would be, do you see opportunities for fusion products like traditional Middle Eastern flavors with health-focused formulations, that kind of an experiment, that kind of products?
For me, it's we are lucky that we live in GCC because we have a lot of ingredient that we can use it to make a nice combination. And I'll give you example about dates. The date from all nationalities, they like the dates, the almonds, the hazelnut. So this combination of this pairing, when you make it, people they will like it, especially like saffron, rose, cardamom. So this infusion it's popular now. So people and the consumer they are ready to taste. They are ready to taste. This is a good thing in this country and all GCC.
I think just like, how different nationalities are coming into a melting pot, it's pretty much
Yes.
that, yeah,
Yes.
I get your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Iman?
Absolutely. There's a room for fusion, Middle Eastern, healthy. And proof of that is we started, now we are on the third year. I don't know if I can mention it, but the top hotel here in the UAE. So they switched to us 3 years ago from their longtime supplier because they were looking for clean and delicious. And because, of course, they are based here in the UAE, they wanted something, this was the brief, to something which reflects Middle Eastern flavor, but healthy. So imagine this trend. And normally, the luxury hotels, they are the ones who first see what the trends are. And we see this demand in a lot of five-star hotels. Yeah, and this is why I think the more adventurous you are these days, the better it is, especially if you have that health aspect. It's just like win-win for everyone.
For both sides, yeah. And I think probably what earlier in the session, what Anaita mentioned that, like how Nestle added that one chocolate in the box, which has got I think probably that would have been probably the baby steps at that time.
Yeah, very, very true. And that's why I always say, GCC, the beauty of the Middle East market is the demographics are such that there are so many other nationalities, right? So if you look at even the maximum, the Asians are a lot in GCC, in Dubai, in wherever. So that's where the beauty is. The fusion products, 100%. There's a lot of demand, but there's also a demand for a more niche fusion project, which has, say, the Filipino taste, the Indian taste, the Mid Eastern taste, and that's where the innovation comes in.
Right.
Things like coconut sugar or jaggery or ashwagandha or XYZ. These are the telling.
Yeah, the flavor profiles, right? I mean, yeah. Quite
I want to add one thing more. As a retailer, we have a food of the world area category where we have Filipino, Mexican, Thai, Korea, and some extent Chinese also. So these range we created a separate dedicated area because customers are looking for that area. Oh, I will go there and then I will grab my Filipino assortment or either my.
Yeah, no, this is such a wonderful memory. In fact, Pankaj, I just go back way back in 1999. I was working with Spinneys, who at that time taken over Choithrams in Oman, and I was the first one who launched this world area in Oman, in Muscat, in the stores. So it's really got back a beautiful memory. That is the time we realized that the GCC is not only about GCC; it is world. And I clearly remember that day section in Spinneys supermarket, which was then Choithrams, the world food. So yeah, it beautifully all comes together.
Exactly, and that also goes on to say it's a small world, yeah.
And recently we launched.
Yeah. I mean,
if you go to the list, recently we launched on the 15th of August, Independence Day. So Indian assortment also we captured in the booklet.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why we are making the food of the world separate.
Nice. So I know generally, I mean, most of the questions I've covered, but generally the one overarching question that we get always is that, for a new supplier to get into this market, what are the rules and regulations or, what are the critical things? I mean, of course, everybody knows, the country of origin certificate and all of that. But is there anything that stands out as a suggestion, as an advice for these newcomers into the market, anything specific that you would recommend? Let's say we'll start with Pankaj. Anything that you recommend as these are the must-haves or you keep an eye on these things?
The four certificates are the must-have. It's called GMO, Organic Health Certificate, and then country of origin. So even date coding labeling is also very important because if you go to the European bed, there's the best code it is there, but in the compliance point of view, here the DDN on why production expiry must be maintained. So these things has to be maintained by the properly, and then suppose something is there non-halal, so they have to specifically mention that this is non-halal. So I don't think so. There is a more any requirement is there, but this type of compliance is from the couple of years in the GCC market. So that I suppose somebody is entering in the market, and people, now the distributors are more aware, and then they are more mature in terms of they know if I want to enter in the UV market, I have to prepare first myself in this regard, and then jump to that market.
Okay, clear. So I think that brings us to kind of like an end of this. I mean, I must say that, it has been a very healthy session. But before we let you go, I mean, each of you, if you could really, share your final thoughts in terms of, it could be about the market, about the trends in the market. It could be any advice that you want to share with our audience, please.
For me, we talk about this generation, how they are, smartphones, social media, and everything. But we still forget that we still have some percentage of the people, they are not deeply with this ingredient and this product. So I prefer example like Schweitram or any market or any retailer to have some session to explain more details for all the nationality, because we have from all the nationality in Dubai to go more detail for the ingredient, because this one also will help this line to grow more and more.
Agreed.
Brilliant. Thank you for that note, Chef Walid. Iman?
For me, when we started in 2017 talking about healthy chocolates, people were like, "What?" Now we're in 2025. There are a lot of products which are healthy at the same time indulgent, and I think they should encourage manufacturers. They should encourage brand makers that there is a healthy, big market out there. You started asking us about millennials, Gen Zs. Yes, they're there, but even the older people, I'm like Gen X, so I'm one of them, are already very aware of what they're eating, what the effects of good food, healthy ingredients are going to do to their children. So I would encourage everyone, the more, the merrier.
Clear. Thank you. Thank you for that, Iman. And Anaita?
Firstly, thank you very much, Organic Majlis and the panelists. I think it was a very wonderful discussion over here. What I want to say is, talking more of collective consciousness. Every time we discuss on certain products, there are certain buzzwords, like today, health, GMO, keto, everything is sometimes they're buzzwords, sometimes there's a lot of experience. I think we should all collectively, a collective conscious to get the right product at the right time, to the consumers. Because I just feel these are my final thoughts. Very often in this session, we've said, oh, the consumer knows everything. But the consumer knows everything from Google Chat or from ChatGPT. But experts like us and you and Organic Majlis, I would say, who put these things together, we should, validate everything and do more of these kind of sessions and educate. But I can tell you, I have learned a lot from this session, just as, I interact with people. People come to me for consultancy, for example. So I am more empowered today. So I think as collectively, we should all get this across, and that would be my parting, words, to do more of these more, collective small sessions. Yeah, but it was beautiful, and I think the confectionery market it's booming, it's going in the right direction, and it's only upward. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much
for that positive note. Pankaj, anything more to add?
Well, thank you very much for giving this opportunity for the Organic Majlis. I will say in a simple name, hashtag innovation. Always innovation has to be looked at by the new generations. On top, I will say that keep selling healthy and sustainable product and stay fit and stay healthy.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Anaita, I mean, of course, that's our word, and like, I mean, definitely Organic Majlis is our initiative, so that it's an ongoing yearly kind of a community gathering, right? At least online for an hour, so that each time we focus on a single sector, so that we can all come together. And of course, we take this conversation forward to our show in November in Dubai World Trade Center, the Organic and Natural Expo. So of course, then that will be another opportunity where all of us could really meet face to face and like take this conversation forward, right? But for now, let me say this: it was a pleasure having all of you join for today's Healthy Confectionery Focus session in the Organic Majlis. Really, my heartfelt thank you to our insightful speakers for sharing their expertise, and to our engaged attendees for being part of this valuable conversation. So to wrap up, today's session highlighted how the GCC healthy confectionery market is transforming with a rising demand for sugar-free, vegan, keto-friendly, and functional snacks. Consumers are increasingly seeking guilt-free indulgence that combines great taste with clean label ingredients, plant-based options, and health benefits. This shift is creating exciting opportunities for brands ready to innovate, adapt to evolving dietary preferences, and meet the region's growing appetite for better-for-you treats. So we invite all of you to continue this conversation and connect in person at the Organic and Natural Product Expo, taking place from 17 to 19, so not a long time to go, 17 to 19 November at the Dubai World Trade Center. So to know more of the event, or in case if you have got any questions, to all our audience, if you have any questions, you can always write to us on info@organicandnatural.com, and we'll be happy to assist you. Once again, thank you to my lovely panelists. Thank you all the attendees from wherever you are in the world. So please enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, and have a good one.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.